Today, we are going to read and understand a story from your course book, Santoor, on Chapter 4, about a very clever parrot who lived in a cage and found an intelligent way to set himself free. The story is full of feelings, clever thinking, and a smart plan. In a quiet village, a rich merchant kept a bright and talkative parrot in a cage of gold. The parrot had a sharp mind and often entertained the merchant with stories and songs. However, deep inside, the bird longed for the open skies and green trees. Dear kids, there was a rich man who had a very talkative and intelligent parrot. The bird lived in a shiny cage and often made the man happy with its voice. But the parrot wished to fly outside and live freely. Difficult words. Talkative, someone who talks a lot. Entertained, made someone happy or amused. Longed, deeply wished for something. One day, the merchant decided to travel far away for business. He thought he would do something to please his pet. He walked up to the cage and said,
"My beloved parrot, I am about to travel to a far-off land. What can I bring for you from there?"
So, dear kids, one day the man was going on a long journey. Before leaving, he asked the parrot if it wanted something from the faraway place, just like we ask family before going on a trip. Difficult words. Merchant, a businessman. Far-off land. A place that is very far away.
The parrot replied, "Dear master, you look after my needs so well that I have tasted all the tender fruits and chilies. But I want to taste the joy of flying in the sky. If you really want me to be happy, please let me fly off into the sky." Kids, which means the parrot thanked the merchant for taking good care of it and giving it everything, but said that true happiness for it would be to fly freely in the sky, and kindly asked to be set free. The merchant said, "You are very dear to me, and I cannot bear to let you go away. Ask for anything else." Kids, which means the merchant told the parrot that he loved it very much and couldn't stand the thought of losing it, so he asked the bird to request something else instead. Difficult words. Dear, someone loved or precious. Bear, to tolerate or accept something painful or difficult. The bird sighed. "Since you cannot let me fly, when you see my friends in the jungle, tell them that I send them greetings from my cage," which means the bird gently asked the merchant to tell its forest friends that it remembers them and sends warm wishes from inside its cage. Difficult word? Greetings! Kind or friendly messages to show care or remembrance. The merchant went off on his travels. One day in a forest, he saw a flight of parrots, one same color as his pet. He walked up to the tree and said, "Oh, beautiful parrots, I have one of your relatives as a pet, and I keep it in a cage of gold. It has sent greetings for you all." So, dear kids, while the merchant was traveling through a forest, he noticed a group of parrots flying together. One of them looked exactly like his pet parrot at home. He went closer to the tree where they were sitting and spoke to them. He told the parrots that he had one of their relatives as a pet kept in a golden cage, and that the pet parrot had sent them greetings. As the merchant finished speaking, one parrot dropped like a stone from the tree and fell on the ground. The merchant was distressed at this. He hurried away from there. In simple words, it means just as he stopped talking, one of the parrots suddenly collapsed and hit the ground hard, leaving the merchant deeply upset and prompting him to leave quickly. Difficult words, dropped like a stone, fell heavily and suddenly. Distressed, very worried or troubled. On returning home, he went up to his parrot's cage and described all the wonders and the beauty he had seen on his journey, and how a flight of parrots had come to the forest he was visiting. And, kids, when he got back home, he spoke to his parrot about the amazing sights from his trip and mentioned how a group of parrots had arrived in the forest he had traveled to. Difficult word, flight of parrots, a group of parrots flying together. He then told his pet about the message he had conveyed, and with great sorrow described how one bird had been so shocked that it fell to the ground. And kids, the merchant shared with his pet what he had said to the forest parrots, and, feeling very sad, explained how one bird had collapsed in surprise. Difficult word, conveyed, told, or passed on a message. As soon as he finished talking, his own pet parrot fell from the perch to the floor of the cage. Dear children, right after the merchant finished speaking to the parrots in the forest, his own pet parrot suddenly dropped from its perch inside the cage and lay still on the floor. The merchant was shocked to see this happen so suddenly. Difficult words, perch, a stick or bar where a bird sits. The merchant couldn't understand how his beloved pet died so suddenly. He reached into the cage and gently took the still, warm body of the bird and placed it on the windowsill. Thus, kids, the merchant was confused and sad, not knowing how his dear pet had died so quickly. He opened the cage and carefully picked up the parrot's body, which was still warm. Then, he placed it on the windowsill. As soon as he stepped back, the bird stirred, stretched its beautiful green wings, and flew off into the open sky, saying, "My friend showed me how I could escape, and now I can fly in the sky. Goodbye." So, kids, as the merchant stepped away, the parrot that had seemed lifeless suddenly moved. It opened its lovely green wings, stretched, and flew into the wide open sky. While flying, it called out to the merchant, saying that its forest friend had shown it the way to freedom. Now it was free to fly, and it said goodbye happily. Difficult words, stirred, started to move slightly, stretched, opened out fully, escape, to get free from a place. Thus, moral of the story, true freedom is priceless. Being free is more valuable than any treasure. Use your mind wisely. Like the clever parrot, always think before you act. So, love means understanding and doing what's best for others, not keeping them just for ourselves. So use your mind, feed your brain, and learn to bloom. Bye-bye.